Golfer 007, turn right, heading 185, reduce speed 180 knots.
185 on the heading, 180 on the speed Golfer 007.
Speedbird 124, reduce speed 160 knots to 40 ME.
Reduce 160 to 4, speed 124.
Hello there guys, welcome to part 2 of the full flight 777 PMDG from London Heathrow down to Dubai. We're just sat on stand 317 at Heathrow in the 777-200LR, have active sky and FS real-time loaded at the moment. And just FYI, for your information, we will be referencing quite a bit from the PFPX document. So make sure that you have that to hand, either by you printed it or you've got it on a secondary screen or a laptop or a tablet or whatever. But we need that to reach as we go through the pre-departure planning. So what I've done at the moment is I've loaded the panel state which comes with the PMDG. Now if you go to PMDG setup in either FMC and then go to panel state load, you'll see 3 predefined panel states. There's the cold and dark one, there's a long one, and there's a short one. Now, unfortunately, there's a bug with the cold and dark one, where the master caution light stays illuminated throughout your entire flight. So for the sake of haters being haters and pointing that out, we are going to load the long one, which I've already done. And then when you've loaded that up, you'll be presented with your aircraft in the state that mine is in. Now, referencing back to PFPX, the next step is to load the weights. If you click on FS Actions, and then go to Payload. Now, we have a payload, or a zero fuel weight, should I say, of 183.7 tons, courtesy of PFPX. So just type 183.7, and then put it in the right in the zero fuel weight. We also have an uplift of fuel of 45.2 tons, so just put 45.2, and hit that into there. That is our fuel and our weights all set. Pretty simple. This is why PFPX is so good. It's just a case of filling in values. And of course, the 777 makes it easy to enter those values in too. Next, we can go ahead and we can grab the checklists up for this aircraft. And we can put it on the pre-flight checklist. Now, there's a bunch of items that we can go through. So oxygen, it wants tested in 100%. Now there's a lot of oxygen tanks on this, but just for the sake of showing you how to test it, you just press it and it makes a noise, and then just make sure that this is all the way to the right, so it's at 100%. Okay, so that's checked. The flight instruments, well, we have QNH 1013 set on my side and 1013 set on that side. That is going to change right now to 1017, and that's the same on the other side as well, if we can just see that screen over there. So the heading at the moment is set to 360, but we can set it to runway heading, which is 091. We will be departing off 09 right from PFPX, and the instruments as well are all fine. So that will then bring us down to the next checklist, which is a before start. We can get rid of that for the moment. We don't need it. So, ADIRU we need to switch on. We can also arm the emergency lights and then close the cap on that. We can turn the center fuel, the left and the right fuel pumps on. We don't have any fuel in the center, as you can see. Let's see if we can pop this out here. We have 22.6 in the left and 22.6 in the right, but nothing in the center, so we don't need the center pumps on. We can throw the packs on. We can switch the APU on, I guess, for a fast start. Get us out of here as quick as possible. This, the 777 runs on a kind of moonlit configuration, so if all the switches are black, not right now, but when we get into after pushback and after the engine start, as long as all the switches are black and say on, or are not yellow or orange, then we're good pretty much. So that's what you've got to watch out for. If you ever see an orange light after you've started up, then you should probably look into that. So we can cancel all of this stuff at the moment because it's still in a pre-flight stage. We don't need to worry about the errors until a long way away from now. So if you see errors on your upper ECAS, then that's what your problem is. So next we can go and we can fill out the FMC. So go to menu, FMC, and for some reason it's gone to the fixed page, but never mind. Press init ref and then type Heathrow, and we're on stand 317, so just stick that in. And then press next page and take the GPS position as we did on the NG and stick it in there. And voila, the ND comes to life. Hit route. Now, if you remember with the NG videos, and if you haven't already watched that, you should have watched it, but you will you'll see quite a bit of referencing from that because they are essentially, as far as the FMC goes, pretty much the same. We had to manually enter all the legs and all that stuff in. The great thing about now we have PFPX and we have a 777 that is capable of uplinking all the data, we don't actually have to do that anymore. We just need to, in this co-route, so company route, just type in the exported flight plan name, so Heathrow to Dubai, and if we insert that here, then this will insert the route that we exported from PFPX. So you can always check on the legs page if it's done it, and you can cross-check that with PFPX to check that it's all in there. It will be. It's all good. Need to go back to oh, where have we gone? Route. Try that again. There we go. So we're departing off 09 right, and we are Emirates 8. And then with that, we can just activate and execute. Simple stuff. Now, the next thing is to uplink the winds, I guess we can do now. So if you remember, we created a winds document, so a .wx document inside the PMDG 777 weather folder. Actually, no, I think it was just PMDG and then weather folder. We now can go to the legs page and then press route data and then press wind data request, and you will see now that all the winds have been entered. If we randomly pick a waypoint, Conan will do, you can see that all the winds are now in the FMC and the data has been activated. So, moving on to the zero fuel weight, it's there. The reserves are 6 and the cruise index, what am I talking about? The cruise altitude initially is up to 360 with a cost index of whatever you like. I'm going to use 90. Step size, we can set it to 2,000 feet, and that matches with our step size on the OFP. Now, thrust limit, remember Emirates only use takeoff. We are not sure why. Someone asked that in the previous video. And we are taking an assumed temperature of 60 degrees. That gives us flap 5 and a CG of 33% with a trim to remember of 2.75. We can take the gross weight of 228.1, and then we can fill out all of the weather data for Heathrow, which is 060 at 4 knots, and the temperature is 16 degrees, and there's no slope and the runway is dry. We can then take the reference speeds, of which PMDG has supplied for us, and then we just need to bug up in the MCP V2, so 151. And then we can also set the initial altitude, which is 6,000 feet. We press depart and arrive, and then select 09 right, and then select the Dover 6 Juliet departure. Press execute and clear that out. You may get this enable next alt. If you do, just delete that initial altitude out of it, but keep the rest and just get rid of the first waypoint's altitude. And then if you look here, we haven't programmed the arrival. We have 2,994 miles, and we'll be arriving with approximately 9.6 tons. That will decrease slightly when we program the arrival. We're pretty much spot on for what PFPX is telling us that we will land with. It's always good. So, with that in mind, I have just realised that we're actually cruising at flight level 370, and like an idiot, I put 360 in the FMC, or 380 even. So go back to index, and then perf, and then 370, and then just let it recalculate stuff. So anyway, with that mess up out of the way, we can go and program the step climbs. So if you look at the flight plan, if you have it in front of you, and I hope you do, you will see that initially out of Heathrow we're climbing up to 370, and then when we get to waypoint Isiga, we are going up to 390. So we need to find that, which is here, and then we need to type /390s. So that means step climb 390, and stick that in there. And then we are climbing again up to 410 at Cdad, which is down here somewhere. There it is on the last page. Again, type /410s, and then hit that over Cdad, and then that's as high as we're going to go. If you are using the auto climb feature in the 777, then you will notice that when you get to the steps that you've entered in, it will climb up on its own, which is pretty cool. However, it will also do step climbs based on its own calculation, so just watch that if you haven't put them in manually. So, I guess it's time to just prep the aircraft, make sure we've got everything on the displays that we need, and kind of just duplicate them on both sides, I guess. Turn the VORs on both sides, because that's what we'll be using. And then we can turn the flight directors on. We can turn LNAV and VNAV on. We can also stick the auto brake to RTO, and we can run through, I guess, some overhead scans. The seatbelt signs can go on. We don't need to do anything else just yet on the overhead panel. So I will get GSX to start getting us ready to disappear out of the gate. We're going to go nose right. And using the secondary FMC, we can make sure that all the doors get closed and the jetway can go. Arm the doors, close the cargo doors. We can turn the TCAS on. We'll squawk a remotely decent code of 2000. I just pressed test by accident, but whatever, it'll do the test for us. We can pull up the checklist, which is the before start checklist. So the flight deck door,
TCAS test pass.
should have waited for that, is closed and locked. It's not actually simulated. MCP is set, so V2 is set in the IAS window. Heading 091, 6,000 feet block altitude. Takeoff speeds V1. Oh yeah, re-enter them because we've reset the level, didn't we? So V1 143, where VR 146, and then V2 is a 151. CDU pre-flight is complete. The trim is 0 for the moment. The taxi and takeoff briefing well. It's a Compton 6 Juliet from 9 right. We'll be letting the autopilot handle most of it. That's pretty much as far as it goes. Very automated flight, but hey, that's a 777. And the beacon light we can now switch on. So that's now before taxi checklist, which we'll do after the engine starts. So we'll just get the engine page back up for now. So let's see how close GSX is to being done. There's the pushback thing. Shall we ask it what it's doing? Oh, I'll tell you what, let's just reset it and do it all again. Sometimes it does this. It's still not quite perfect with the 777. Either that or I'm being an idiot. One or the other. But yeah, it's really temperamental. So nose right. So there we go. They should bring themselves to us. There they come. Go on Unicom. We're not on VATSIM at the moment, but it's get into a good habit of switching to Unicom, and then you won't have much of a problem. Okay, so now we can turn on all the hydraulic stuff. So right, then left, then C1, C2, and then the middle two. As far as I'm aware, that's what I've been told. If we do it the other way, then something tends to break. I don't pretend to be an expert on this, I'm just showing you how to get it into the air. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people out there that know how to do this much better, and if so, then comment, let me know. I'm always open to being educated. Making sure that I haven't missed anything obvious, which I haven't, as far as I can see. What's GSX doing? Is it ready? Or is it still plugging itself in? Now the hydraulics are online, we can set the 2.75 trim, which is about there. Stop playing with the yoke mat, as tempting as it is. What are they doing down there? Have they disappeared? Oh no, they haven't. It's just I've got everything still connected to the aircraft. Let's try that again. FS actions. I keep forgetting that this is all set when you load the panel state. There we go. Everything is gone. Now it will do it. Nice wing view for any of those of you. Nice wing view for those of you who are interested. 777 wings are massive. It's great. Right, here we go. We're ready to push back now. Parking brake is released, and then on the pushback we can go straight for the engine start. So we'll start number 2 first. It's easy. Start a panel which is here. Just switch it to start. Wait for the engines to spool up. Same scenario as the NG, really. Give it some fuel. You can start to slowly hear the groan of the engines spooling up. It's pretty quiet from the 777 flight, though. They're so far forward of the engines that hearing it to its full sort of shebang, as you would if you were over the wing, it's not quite the same. There you go, the starter's just flicked back, so you can start the other one. Give it some fuel. Nice cloudy day at Heathrow, isn't it always though? Typical British weather. I really need to start flying outside of the UK because we're always damned with bad weather. There's never a good day for flying, or it doesn't seem to be. GSX doing an amazing job as always. Saying that, I've had it where it's decided to push me in weird and wonderful directions, but majority it's okay. Love the little rattles you get from the cabin. A new level of immersion has been found, it seems, with the sounds. Parking brake set. Okay, so this is what I mean by a moonlit configuration. All of the warnings have gone. We can get rid of the APU now. And that is a state that you want to see. If you see anything other than that, apart from that telling us that the APU just went off, but anything other than a moonlit configuration, then you need to start to worry. If everything is moonlit, you are good to go. Let's flick the taxi light on. Oh, twice. Bring the flaps down to 5. Take a look at the checklist before taxi. So anti-ice we don't need. Recall, we can check it. Nothing to recall. Flight controls, so just do a quick check of those. We could even look at the flight control page if we wanted, but we don't need to. So checked. And the ground equipment, well, still quite not clear, but we'll say it is anyway because we've got an eye on that guy at the front. And then the next is before takeoff, but the flaps are already set. So after that is going to be the after takeoff checklist. So for now, we can get rid of everything on that lower ECAS. Just wait for GSX to move out of the way, and then we can taxi down to 9 right. Pretty short taxiway. It's a pretty short taxi down to 9 right. I don't think we'll be able to make this right, but we'll take the right onto Alpha, which is this one here, and then run it all the way down to 9 right. Parking brake released. Uh-oh. GSX, move. What are you driving back into me for? We'll just pretend that never happened. Decides to drive off and then comes back for more. Now we're pretty light, so I mean it will taxi. It will get away from itself with the speed quite quickly, so just make sure you don't overpower it. Now, I've been flying this since it came out, and I don't actually think I've ever lined it up on the runway properly yet. I keep overshooting or undershooting. And for some reason, before any sexual innuendos come off this, it seems longer than it is. I guess track IR actually would have been a good idea. I'm not streaming right now, so track IR would have been pretty damn useful. Albeit I don't have it installed at the moment. So full length departure from 09 right. We'll go all the way to the end, although I think there's a bit of a bug with the UK 2000 scenery. It turns the type of ground into sort of dirt or gravel, which means the aircraft takes a lot more power to get moving. It's not too bad though. We're not fuel critical or anything like that, so just keep it rolling all the way down to the end. There's a nice wing view for those who love wing views. See if we can get the other one in as well. Going ridiculously fast. 25 across the ground. A bit too fast actually, but hey ho. There's a cabin ready. It's always a welcome noise. You can just cross-check that in the middle there. The doors are all armed. Everything is good. So as far as we're concerned, we are pretty much ready to go. The cabin's good. We're good. We're all set. LNAV, VNAV's armed. And all we need to do is fly this beauty into the sky. So we'll just pretend we've got takeoff clearance. So just we're going to do kind of a roll on and get going type takeoff. Heathrow's a busy place, so the chances of you being stuck on the runway for a lengthy amount of time is pretty unrealistic, although sometimes it does happen. So strobe lights, and we can turn the nose lights on. Give the cabin a few dings. And here's the problem with the ground now. So we've hit this little I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a change of density in the ground, but even though the textures remain the same. It's like you're on one of those the rides at the fair with the horses. I don't know what they're called. Forget I said it. Move on. So you're flying on VATSIM and stuff like that, just make sure you check the approach is clear. I know I'm not, so I don't have anything on that would interfere with our flight. So the lineup has gone better than normal. However, there was a shallower cut. I didn't have to do a sweeping left-hand 90-degree turn. Right, so keep it rolling. Turn the clock on my side and the clock on the other side. Everything is good to go. We're squawking Charlie. The lights are on. 70%. That's what you spool these beasts to, or thereabouts. And then Toga. Power is set, passing 80 knots. E1 and rotate. Positive rate and gear up. Now we are incredibly light, so it will fly away with itself, no pun intended. But we can deal with that. So in the air now, we can stick the autopilot on, and then we can just go into speed intervene for the moment, same as we did with the NG, and just hold it at, we'll take it at flat 1 speed, because we've already passed the speed in which we've got a retraction speed on 5, so don't worry too much about that, it's all good, you're not going to break anything. LNAV's taking us to the right, we can bring flat 5 in. Passing 3, we can now accelerate. And then with that we can bring flap 1 in. Auto brake will automatically go off by itself, so don't worry about that. We'll be climbing all the way up to cruise, so flight level 370. Nice rainy day. And then just spam the intervene button a few times so it clears the initial out restrictions. We'll be climbing to a flight level so we can set standard now. We are done with the lights and the taxi lights. Accelerating very nicely indeed. Passing flight level 60 very soon. Oops, I just reset the view, sorry. Beautiful day outside. Not. So that's really it as far as the departure goes. You can see how automated it all is, so you don't need to do very much. PFBX is a great aid, and we are just going to climb all the way up now to flight level 370, following the departure out to the southeast of the UK and then over Brussels. I'm going to skip forward until we're in the cruise. Just make sure you come back out of speed intervene, that would be a good idea. Let the FMC take over with the management of speed. Anyway, I'm going to skip until we're in the cruise, and then we'll show you one step climb, because that should be all you need to realise how it does it. And then we will be done, I think. So I hope you enjoyed the departure, and again, be prepared to be tripped out as I skip forward, and we are in the cruise. Okay guys, so just before we wrap up part 2 of the 777 video, I want to show you the noob side of things now. It's not really the noob side of things. It's actually quite a cool feature or set of features. If you go to menu and then FS actions even, and then auto cruise. In here you will see a bunch of options. Now, auto step climbs is what you're about to see when we hit a Sega, but also you have auto time compression, and you can select this to whatever you want, so all the way from 2 to 16, and then you can turn it on. And if you can't stick around for the duration of your flight, you know, which not everyone has that sort of time, you can sim rate increase to up to 16 times. Now, I've used it, and it seems to basically, if you're going in a straight line, it will go as fast as 16, and then as you come to sort of sharp turns and you hit turbulence and anything that affects the aircraft in a drastic way, it will bring it automatically back down to 1, so you don't get any erroneous, you know, climbs or descents or turns or something like that. So that's really cool. So as you can see, we're just approaching 2 miles from a Sega. I haven't touched anything, but if we look in the FMC with the step climbs on, at a Sega we're going to go up to 390. So if we just wait, and all of a sudden, there we go. It's set 390 by itself, and now it's climbing to 390. So for example, if I wanted to leave this now on its own to go and fly this whole flight and come back later on when it's time to land, I would come back and it would have climbed as high as 410, because that's what we've set, yeah? And yeah, that's pretty much how it does it. It's really cool. I've not seen this feature in any aircraft before, so a really neat addition from PMDG. Anyway, that wraps up part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were educated, if not entertained, or both, depending on what sort of mindset you came into this with. But still, thanks for watching. Join me on part 3 when we program the approach and we descend and we land into good old Dubai.